Giant W for college football. Huge W for college football. Giant W for Uncle Lou, too. I went to bat for this 9-game conference schedule, and that's what we're going to. The SEC announced today that they will be moving starting next season, 2026, to a 9-game conference schedule, the exact model that myself and other people have been arguing for years, the 3-6-6 model. So every SEC team will have 3 permanent opponents to preserve traditional conference rivals. For example, Georgia will play Auburn and Florida every year, plus whatever third team they decide on. Alabama, I'm sure, will play Auburn and Tennessee every year, and then whatever third team they decide on. So you get it. You'll play you'll have 3 teams to play every year. Then you'll play 6 other conference opponents for a total of 9 conference games. The following season, you'll play those same 3 teams again that you play every year, and then you'll play the other 6 teams that you didn't play the year before. So every 2 years, you will have played every team in the SEC. Every 4 years, you will have played every team in the SEC, home and away. Because you'll play your 3 regular opponents, and you'll play 6 other opponents, right? 3 at home, 3 on the road. The second year, that will switch. You'll play the 3 you played on the road at home and the 3 you played at home on the road. The third year, you'll play the 6 you didn't play the previous 2 years. 3 on the road, 3 at home. And then in the fourth year, that will swap. So every 4 years, you will have played every team in the league. Home and away. No more of this crap where, Texas A&M's been in the SEC for 15 years. Georgia's never played there. Florida hasn't played at Auburn in 15 years. LSU hasn't played in Athens since 2013. No more of that shit. This is a huge win for college football in November when we have playoff races, and some of the most exciting games all season long now are happening in November thanks to the expanded playoff. You've got in November, you've got anywhere from 30 to 35 teams still alive to make the college football playoffs. So whereas in the month of November, when we had a 4-team playoff, you might have had 8 or 9 teams that were still alive to make the playoff. Now you've got 30 or 35. It's a ton of exciting games in November. Now, instead of that third or second week in November having to sit around and watch all these SEC teams play FCS schools for no fucking reason at all, actually there is a reason. The reason was to pad their resume and prevent a late season loss. That's the reason they were doing it. Let's just call it like it is. But this is a win for college football because I have this expression, and I say this all the time. I don't hide the fact Georgia's my favorite team. I don't hide that. To the detriment of my own channel, because there's people who won't watch me because they know Georgia's my favorite team. But I don't hide that. Georgia is my favorite team. But I'm a college football fan. Maybe you see a difference in the two. Maybe you don't. I love college football. I love great college football games. I would much rather watch Georgia play LSU or Georgia play Texas A&M or Georgia play Oklahoma, whoever, that second or third week in November than Austin Peay or Mercer. And, it's not just Georgia. A lot of these SEC teams do this with the FCS crap in November. This just makes sense. Now, the pushback by some chicken little fucking Stuart Little, the sky is falling, fucking scaredy cat fans is, but it's going to be harder now. Of course it's going to be harder. Of course. Any SEC team you play in the third week of November is going to be harder than Mercer or Austin Peay or whoever the fuck. Of course it is. Duh. That doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. Okay? Come on, give me a break. We play 8 conference games now. The 8th game has cost teams playoff spots before. Should we do away with the 8th game and just play 7? If we went to 7 conference games, somebody would lose their 7th conference game and knock themselves out. So then we should go to 6 conference games? Why don't we just do only play conference games in September and then just play 8 FCS teams? The idea that we can't go to 9 because it'll make the schedule hard, that's a loser's argument. It's little dick energy. The SEC is going to get 3 or 4 teams into the 12-team playoff in the model that exists now, whether they play 8 or 9 conference games. So why not go to 9 and give the entire college football world decent college football games to watch that third week of November instead of beating up on these FCS schools? It just makes sense. This argument that, well, I don't want to schedule a ninth conference game because what if I'm sitting on 2 losses and then we lose? Well, then you probably don't deserve to get in. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. If you finish fourth, fifth, or worse in your own league and you don't get into a 12-team college football playoff, I do not feel sorry for you at all. I just don't. The Big Ten got 4 in last year and the SEC got 3. So whoever the 4th team in the SEC was didn't get in. I don't care. Was that 4th team better than some other team that did get in? I don't care. All this hypothetical power rating Vegas odds shit has warped y'all's mind to the point where you can no longer understand the fact that games are played on the field, not on a piece of paper. We can relitigate the Alabama thing, but the Alabama didn't miss the playoffs because they lost to a bunch of top 10 SEC teams. Alabama missed the playoffs because they lost to Vandy and Oklahoma. 2 terrible teams last year. So the idea that adding a ninth conference game, look, sometimes that ninth game is going to be against Georgia or Bama or LSU. Sometimes that ninth conference game is going to be against Auburn or Arkansas or Mississippi State. It's going to be luck of the draw in a given year. Sometimes your schedule will be harder than somebody else's. Sometimes your schedule will be easier than somebody else's. This is the world of college football and sports in general. Schedules are not created equally. They just aren't. Depending on who you play and how good those teams are in a given year, somebody's schedule is going to be harder or easier. If you can't finish in the top 3 of your own league, I don't care if you get left out of the playoff. I don't. Sorry. And it could happen to Georgia. It probably will at some point. There's going to be years where the SEC gets 3 in, where they get 4 in. Maybe they expand the playoffs and they constantly get 4 or 5 in. I don't know. And I really don't care. I love good college football games. And watching anybody really play FCS, if you just think about it seriously, it's a bad look for the SEC. And I'm captain SEC. It has been a bad look for a long time. The whole playing FCS teams in November thing. It is a bad look. I don't think that's why the SEC was good for the last 25 years. I don't think that's why the SEC dominated college football for the last 25 years, up until the last couple of years. The Big Ten has started to catch the SEC, and I think passed the SEC last year. But that's a different debate. I don't think that's the reason why the SEC got good. And if you think it is the reason, especially if you're an SEC guy, and you think your team or any team in the SEC needs that FCS game in November in order to be relevant in the postseason, then you've been kidding yourself all these years about the SEC being a dominant conference. It can't be both. It can't be that the SEC, that playing the FCS in November wasn't the reason the SEC was dominant. I don't think that was the reason. But you can't have that opinion and then tell me that you need to keep that FCS game to secure your spot in the postseason. You can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways. The whole strength of schedule thing has gotten so out of control and out of whack over the last couple of years with people crying about it, where you've got legitimate lifelong college football fans who think that a Vegas spread is more important than a result they saw on the field. And it's just not. Strength of schedule is a metric, like there's 100 other metrics. Record is a metric. Strength of schedule is a metric. Who you beat is a metric. Who you lost to is a metric. Your best win, your worst loss. All of these things, injured players, all of these things are metrics that get considered. But the amount of people over the last couple of years who have wanted to weight strength of schedule at 99% and everything else at 1% or less is mind-boggling to me. I don't understand that. You shouldn't be scared of a ninth conference game. The whole SEC motto, it just means more. We'll play anybody anywhere except a ninth conference game in November. We can't do that. We got to keep playing FCS. It's been a bad look for a long time. I'm glad it's gone. This is the perfect model for a 16-team league. Now, adding teams at some point down the road. They'll have to adjust this. I hope they don't add. I don't want no more realignment. That's another topic too. I wish everything would stay like it is and stop the realignment, but that's another topic too. But current situation, 16 teams. This is the best possible way to go about it, in my opinion. The 3-6-6, and that's what they're doing. It'll start next year. Every team, 3 permanent opponents. You'll play every year, plus 6 additional opponents. And then you'll play them home and away in consecutive years. And then in the 3rd and 4th year, you'll play the 6 teams that you didn't play the first 2 years. So every 4 years, you will have played every team in the league home and away. I think this is great. I think it's a win for college football. I think this is a win for college football fans. One of the problems that I have with college football, and we've talked about this a lot, and it's funny, other than the 9-game conference argument or discussion, most people seem to agree with what I'm about to say. But then when it comes to the ninth game deal, they switch up. One of the problems with college football, and there's a lot of them, but one of the problems with college football is that there is nobody whose job it is to look out for what's best for college football as a whole, or what's best for me and you, the fans. You've got a bunch of people in high up places who are responsible for looking out for their own house. You've got your head coach and your athletic director who are solely responsible for doing what's best for your school. You've got your conference commissioner who is solely responsible for fighting for and doing what's best for only your conference. Beyond that, there's no one looking out for the best interest of college football as a whole. You've got people looking out for the players through NIL and their abilities to get paid and things like that. You've got nobody looking out for you and me, the fan, and college football as a whole. This decision by the SEC to go to a 9-game conference schedule and implement a 3-6-6 model is a win for me and you, the fan, and all of college football. Why? We get to see more great college football games late in the season in the month of November, as opposed to watching all these top 15 teams beat up on FCS teams the 2nd and 3rd week in November, which is a complete and total waste of time. I couldn't be happier that they're going to 9 games. Is Georgia going to be a 2-loss team and then lose their 9th conference game at some point and knock themselves out of the playoffs? Maybe, probably. It'll happen at some point. But like I said, if Georgia ever finishes 4th or 5th or whatever in their conference and doesn't get in the playoffs, hard to cry over that. Do better. Win more games. Anyway, call-in show tonight at 9. We can discuss more there. Have a good morning.